Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, the show where you come for your rambling, geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I'm delighted, as always, to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's our resident entomologist of the pod, DL. How are you, mate?
Is that a bee expert?
It's an insect expert.
Insect expert,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's what Michael Caine plays in his film.
I thought he was just like a bee guy.
He's a bee.
Just a bee, a little bee guy.
He just really, really likes bees, all right? Is that okay? Is that not okay?
In
and
this
it shouts for no reason!
Yeah. Like much louder than that.
We're going to be talking about that. We are going to be talking about that as we go.
Much louder than that.
How have you been, mate?
I've been good, man. I've been I had a pretty crazy weekend. It was a pretty wild one.
Wild weekend?
My 32-year-old standards. I don't usually do this, but...
Well, you've now told everyone exactly how old you are. They can send you birthday messages.
Yeah, they can. Well, I mean, they'd have to figure out when it was, but...
We do a birthday thing for you when it comes around.
Yeah, we can.
No one cares.
If you really want to. I'm happy with that. The
Brilliant.
reality is, though, I cannot do 2 nights in a row.
Tell me about it, buddy. So I was out with work on Wednesday last week, and then Friday, my best mate was over from Melbourne, and holy hell, I cannot back it up even 2 days later. It is bad.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I basically had a buddy's birthday last night.
You can tell. You sound like...
Yeah.
You sound like Selma from The Simpsons.
I'm pretty bad right now.
Are you going to offend Homer for no reason?
Probably.
Or like the dude from The X-Files. Remember the guy from The X-Files?
No.
Did you ever watch that?
I did watch a few episodes. It was kind of before I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of peak early 90s. There's one dude who was like the guys in the background who pulled all the strings, who had one of those voice modulator things. It was so random. It was in that time.
So I did that, and the night
Distracting.
before I also, I had another big night with the same guy. I don't know why we did it 2 nights in a row, but we did.
Sometimes you just have to, my man.
Yeah, so that was that. Now I'm dead.
As dead as if you'd have been stung by African killer bees?
4 times.
4 times.
Yeah.
At least, no, maybe less. Maybe 3
less.
times.
But I feel like 4.
You feel like 4.
I feel like I was overkilled.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Overkill.
Overkill.
Like this movie, absolute overkill. My God, I've really enjoyed doing this Halloween anthology trilogy thing we've been doing.
Yeah.
But wow, this was different.
It was definitely my least favorite of the 3.
I would say that's a
Undoubtedly.
jackpot. Yeah. That's a bingo.
But all that said, there's a couple moments where I was like, okay, I can understand why it fits in the category.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you want to preface that for the people who've maybe just jumped on for this episode?
So if you haven't been around the last 3 weeks, we've been doing a little Halloween special in the lead up to Halloween.
Yeah, we have
a trilogy of movies that are unintentionally funny horror movies.
Yes.
That's what we're calling it. We previously did, you'll see, just scroll down. We did The Happening first.
Yes, we did. And
the second one
The
was
Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man, starring Nicolas Cage. Happening, Mark Wahlberg. The Wicker Man, starring Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
And this is The Swarm, starring none other than Michael Caine and many others, but primarily...
It's a big cast.
Primarily Michael Caine.
Hectic cast here.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with it, it's from the 70s.
Well, go check. Don't go. It's on YouTube if you really have to. We
Don't
both,
rent it.
like idiots, paid for this.
And I fell asleep at least 4 times, so I had to watch it. I had to finish it on YouTube because my rental expired.
We're going to talk about this.
That's how bad it was.
It was struggle street towards the end. I'm not going to lie to you. This was hard. Hard going. Just think about the content, though, DL. We did this for you guys.
I guess.
And if you guys want to do something for us in return, we would really appreciate it. And DL, I have a question for you that maybe you could help with. If you were to rate this movie on a scale of 1 to, I don't know, 5 billion bees. Like, how many bees would you give this film?
In that pursuit, I would give this film the single bee that they found to confirm that it was the African honeybee.
That's fair. They did only need 1 for that.
I mean, it's more just absurd that he said. Anyway, we'll get to that. I would say you should give us 5 stars.
But you should absolutely
in return for us watching this movie.
This goddamn movie. We'd really appreciate it. You can do it anywhere.
You should do it for that, because I don't think you wanted to watch this movie.
I did want to watch this movie.
No, I'm saying in general, you, the viewer.
We're doing this so you guys don't have to. Believe us, you really don't need to.
Yeah. Well,
it is kind of unintentionally funny at times.
If you are a Michael Caine fan, like if you like Michael Caine.
And overacting.
It's not even like whether you like it or not. If you like him, and you're like, a fan of his work, you kind of have to see this to have the full picture.
That's fair.
Like you can't not go
from.
through. Like you can't be a massive Michael Caine fan and not see this movie.
You've got to know where he came from. To
it's
see where
part
he got
of
to.
the
journey,
anthology and journey.
But you guys,
Michael Caine.
If you want to give us a 5-star review, you can do it right there in app. Whether you're Spotify, whether you're Apple, whatever you're in, it's always there. You can do it. We would absolutely love it. We'd really appreciate it. It helps the podcast massively. You know how algorithms work. We don't have to tell you these things, so please do it right there in app. It helps us massively. DL, tell me, man, what have you been up to this week?
All right. Well, this week, what have I been doing? I've been a degenerate, man. I did a lot of work, and there was like a lot of drinking after work.
Great.
And then there was like a lot of what I just talked about this weekend. And then there was a lot of me trying to figure out where to do my bachelor party.
Ooh,
because
fun.
I am a American living in Australia with friends
quite far away,
in
apparently.
Europe.
Yep.
A fiance from Europe, friends in America, and friends in Australia. So it's a bit of a complicated situation.
So you haven't had any time to do anything, just looking at Bachelor Pad.
Which is like not the thing you want to do when you're hungover. Like, you know what I mean? Like I kept going back to be like, oh, maybe I'll just do a fishing trip.
Oh my God.
I'm so hungover.
It's not fair.
That I don't want to think about drinking.
Brilliant.
But I was doing a lot of that. So I got a couple Airbnb wish lists.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Hopefully I'll send an email next couple days.
While you're doing that, did you flick onto any of Disney Plus to watch any of the new Loki series that's
I have
going on?
only watched the first, I think, 2 episodes.
Okay, I think there are 4 out.
So maybe it's 3. What was that? What was the last episode I saw was when Mrs. Time kind of went crazy and tried to.
So I think that was episode 3.
The variant of Mr. Caine of what's his name?
Caine
the Conqueror.
Correct.
Where they met him and they like informed him who he was going to become.
Yeah,
that's the last episode I saw.
Dr. Timely, I think he's called in that.
And she's like, "I love you," and then he turns her off. That's the one I saw.
I think that's episode 3. There's one out since then. I haven't got around to watching the latest one yet.
Yeah.
How are you feeling it?
I'm enjoying it. It wasn't as strong as the first
Interesting.
2, but I'm enjoying it.
Well, there's rumors that 5 and 6 are the strongest of all of the series. So that's going to be fun.
So I saw something crazy that was like throwing me off.
Don't tell me if there's any spoilers here. I don't want to know.
It's not spoilers. It's just a review from a different perspective. Do you care about reviews before you see something?
Yeah, no, I don't usually read them.
I'm just gonna tell you the high level score.
Why not?
If you don't want it, tell me now.
Spoilers for Loki to this point, perhaps, maybe.
IGN gave it a 5, but I am not getting 5 energy from it.
What, the 4th episode?
The whole thing. I think they got to watch the whole thing.
Really?
But I'm surprised because like I'm enjoying it.
I mean,
yeah,
IGN isn't always bang on.
No, they're not.
I think that though, they did give
They're
Killers of the Flower Moon 9, I think. So that'll be next week's episode sound.
Yeah. That seems to be divisive when I looked at the IMDb comments.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that.
I mean,
as well.
anytime it's like a 3.5 hour movie,
but it's that,
though,
isn't
it's
it?
going to be divisive.
That's the problem. Like, people don't have that attention span anymore.
That is too long.
Is it really 3.5 hours?
It's apparently.
Oh my God.
Martin Scorsese does that. His movies have been getting longer and longer.
I don't know if I've got it in me.
Well, Monday, baby.
Well, we're going to go see it tomorrow, baby. Yeah. But back to Loki. So far, enjoying it.
Yeah, I like it.
It's interesting. I like the
I just like the characters.
Me too. Me too. We said that last week, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I did a fun thing this week, DL.
What'd you do?
I got to go to the beach. And you know what that means.
Congratulations.
It's reading time, baby. So I actually
burn through it?
Smashed through that Red Rising book that you recommended.
I bought it as well. I wish I
You could have just had mine.
I know, but I didn't know you had it. Like, as you texted me that, I had to already, like, literally 30 minutes before.
Oh, no. That's so unfortunate.
But it's like, whatever. It was like $20. But,
yeah, like, it's from 2011, I think. 15, maybe?
Yeah,
so it's like...
He's been churning and burning them.
You can get it first. It's good. I'm not going to tell you much about the story. I think everything I'm going to tell you can get from the synopsis on the back. It's about these
Hunger Games on Mars, basically.
Yeah, it's this
adult version.
It weirdly starts completely different. It starts with them being like this guy being a slave.
Yeah, that's I've read like 4 pages.
But for anyone who doesn't know, he is a slave on the mines of Mars, and they've been told that they're terraforming Mars for the rest of Earth to come and live a fantastic life there, and that's their credo. But they're like they're slaves.
They're competing with each other. Yeah,
and then he gets effectively saved. This is all on the back of the book. You can read it. Yeah. And he gets turned into one of these people who is apparently, the better class. Quotation marks.
Yeah.
And then it turns into kind of the Hunger Games meets a lot of the flies. Right. I really liked it. I think as it's maybe his first book.
It is his first book.
Yeah. There's definitely...
Apparently he gets way better as the series goes on.
There's definitely some pacing issues with this one. Yeah. Like he spends way too long talking about like a certain point of the book and I'm just like, I don't need more information on this. Just get on with it. And then you get to the end and it fires through some really key points of the narrative like so quickly, and I'm like, slow down, like give me more info here. But like, I liked where it's going. I've already bought the second one. That's going to come at some point.
I've heard it's very good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
You know, the first trilogy is all from the point of view of that character.
Yes.
And the next one is kind of more Game of Thrones. I think we talked about this in the pod, actually.
I'm not sure about that. Just because I looked ahead because I wondered if it was that. I looked ahead at the synopsis for the 4th and 5th books, and it looks like it's still from that character. So might change. Might be. My
buddies have told me like that as they read it, so I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Interesting.
But they're big fans, and they've been trying to get me to read it forever, and I caved.
You caved. It happened. Yeah. But yeah, it's good. I've enjoyed it a lot. I'll definitely read the second one. I've already read 2 other books that I need to get through first, but highly recommend, my man. I think you should give it a go. If you're into, well, obviously you are, but like anyone listening, if you're into like sci-fi, you're into freeing the oppressed, which everyone probably should be. It's got some good tones and themes.
Nice.
I think positive.
Nice.
You know, very linked to what's happening in some parts of the world right now.
Yeah. Good. No, I'm in.
What else have you been up to, buddy?
What else has been happening? I watched a bit of Rick and Morty, a bit of Sex Education.
Oh yeah, tell me about Rick and Morty. Let's take a step back, 'cause that's one of mine.
I watched like 2 or 3.
I think there's only 2 episodes out at the moment. So.
And I've only watched 2.
Yeah. What do you think?
They're good. I didn't notice
more the same.
I didn't notice the voice difference.
Me neither, actually. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Morty's not really been in it a huge amount.
No. And I actually didn't finish the second one. It's like when their like brains are spliced.
Yeah, I kind of liked that idea.
It was a funny one. I fell asleep or something. But it was funny.
Tired from the long weekend.
And it was like a lot of like pretty smart dialogue jokes and like inside jokes.
Yeah,
like, it was very Archer.
Yes.
That episode.
Agreed.
But yeah, so far so good.
But I feel like it's you know, it's a little bit more just, you know, back to the old days.
Yeah.
Of, you know, like let's do this weird thing and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I am too.
It doesn't need to be massively serialized. It's good. It's a lot of fun. I like what they're doing with it. Didn't know it's a voice though. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Which is a good thing.
Yeah, totally.
Goes to show, fuck that guy.
I give it because apparently he's a really fucking bad guy.
Yeah, totally.
Justin Roiland, you can do one, mate. Cancelled.
Yeah, for sure. And then I've basically gotten to where I was originally in The Witcher 3.
Oh my God.
Which is 75% done with the first or more, maybe like 80, 90 of the first game.
Proper.
Like the non-expansions.
Pre-DLCs.
Which apparently the DLCs are like an entire another game.
So
I'm going to get one ending of
the way through?
One ending of the like 3 endings, the main 3.
Yeah, for sure.
And then
they basically come down to how nice you are to Ciri, I think.
Yes, and I think also a couple other choices.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
But like also apparently there's multiple different endings in the downloaded expansions based off the endings that you get in the originals. Like if you just like are a full just like
asshole,
like full badass Witcher who just has no time for chicks and doesn't choose either Triss or Yennefer.
Yeah.
Apparently you get this crazy ending in the new DLC. Like if all you're down for is killing monsters and you don't got time for 99 problems with chain one kind of Geralt, then you get a different ending for all those interested.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just watch them all on YouTube.
100%.
There's no need to sit through all.
There is actually a good. So many of these missions have different endings and different. There's so many missions that you don't actually get through them all.
Yes,
like there is actual value in replaying.
That's my problem. Yeah. I just have to do all the side missions.
No, you just gotta put your mental state into like leaving some behind so you can do another play.
Interesting, because I will probably.
As soon as I did that, I was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be hard. I mean, I feel like if you're already pretty strong and you can just breeze through the game, like New Game Plus it, like that'd be fine. But when you're really sucky and you feel like you have to go off and do, more side quests to build up your character, man, I'm gonna do them side quests. I'm gonna do them side quests. But
eventually, like that's my point.
I'm gonna catch them pigeons.
You level out. You love a pigeon catch. You level out pretty quickly to the point where, like, if you've leveled above the mission level, you get nothing for it. So it's better to just leave it behind and play it through another playthrough.
Really, I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay, interesting. I haven't realized that. Speaking of pigeons, though,
yes, you've been
Spider-Man 2 is out.
2.
It's out. I've been playing it. I've been doing the thing that I always do, which is all the side missions first. It's interesting though because you are playing with both Miles and Peter.
It's like a GTA 3 kind of thing. You can switch live.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
you literally can. And sometimes though, it forces you to switch. So like, there are times when I'll be going to do like a side questy thing, and I'll accidentally go near the place where I'm supposed to be for the main quest, and they'll be like, "You switched to Peter," and I'm like, "I didn't want to do that. I was having fun." But like, it's good. It's a lot of fun. I'm still pretty early on. I'm like 20% in.
Is it that different? or does it feel pretty familiar?
I mean, I was a bit angry with myself because I played Miles Morales beforehand, and initially the combat feels very samey, but they've made it a lot tougher, I think. So you have to use, like, you get all the gadgets and stuff you can like fire at enemies, and like in this one you've got other things, like Peter's got big metal spider arms that come out of him and you attack with them. Well, Miles has got
venom and shit.
Miles got his venom blast. You have to be more strategic with using them in this and like actually use them. Whereas before you could just beat up a grunt and like you just hit him 4 times and he's dead. Whereas in this one, not always. Like the grunts don't go down quite as easily. So you really have to be quite strategic about it. And then like if you're getting overwhelmed, you can use the powers and stuff and the tech to like, crowd control. It's crowd control is what it is basically, but like in a good way.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of the villains spoiled for me by a YouTube video by accident. I was doing like things you should know before you play this game.
Yeah.
And in the background, it was just playing like clips from the game. And like I had like a villain spoiled for me. And I was like, I didn't want to know he was in it. Oh,
yeah, I feel that. That's annoying.
Yeah,
I was about to watch
some of the suits as well. Like I know most people don't care about this, but I really like opening up the suits.
The suits I don't give a fuck about.
I like it though. I'm like, because I get to one and I'm like, this is the one I've been waiting for. Like you think like, if you're like, oh, is this going to be in it? And then you're like, yeah, it is in it. Amazing. Like I want the new Across the Spider-Verse 2 suit for Miles, which I knew was probably going to be in there, but I didn't know that. Then I was watching that video and I was like, oh yeah, there it is. Great. Perfect.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, you got to know it's going to happen though. Like if you watch those videos, like it's
I mean, they could have helped out a little bit and not showed all of the friggin' suits,
They don't care.
The bastards.
They just want views.
I don't know who that character is today.
Alan Wake reviews came
getting
out.
like 10 out of 10.
And so I started to watch a review.
Yeah.
And I just saw like an enemy type and I was like, I don't even want to know.
Yeah, I'm done.
I stopped it after a minute. I was like, nope. But fuck, it looks like it's getting such good reviews.
That is 100% you, my man.
It's like if you could boil a game down to my most like quintessential things.
Can I make one point? If you had a cowboy hat on, I'd say yes.
Apparently, it is set in kind of a Western setting.
Oh, really?
It's like a Western crime draw, like certain parts of it.
That's fun.
Yeah. Or like a small town, maybe not
When's
Western.
that out?
I think it's out
soonish.
I think it's out 2 days ago.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't realize it was out already.
But it's looking pretty prime time.
That's awesome.
That being said, I cannot buy another game. I'm gonna wait till it's cheap or something.
I mean, you've already got like 2 extra episodes of The Witcher to play, so
yeah, I'm just gonna wait.
Maybe get through that first.
I'm just gonna wait till it's cheap.
Well, I'm simultaneously playing that Lies of P and the Spider-Man game, and there is zero crossover with the mechanics.
Yeah.
So I'll be playing Spider-Man, and it's free flowing and it's fast.
And then they're just like jagged. Yeah.
And then I go to Lies of P and I'm like,
pretty funny.
What am I doing?
I'm suddenly like,
yeah, I'm useless. There's no Venn diagram.
Palsy. Like, why can't I move?
Literally, I'm like, what is happening? I can't even sprint. I forgot how to sprint today. That's how bad it is on bloody Lies of P.
There are very different types of games. So yeah, lots of things to be excited about as a gamer.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
I think right now. So I'm actually really excited for Christmas break this year because Gail has to work.
Oh man, I'm in the UK,
which kind of sucks for her.
For her,
but that's just like kind of what
game
happens
time
in
for
her.
you.
That's like what her peak of the year is for her job. For me, that means I have a lot of time to myself.
The dream.
I'm going to go to the beach and I'm going to play video games.
It's a shame I'm not around. We could have done that together.
Yeah. most of them are single player games though. So.
Yeah, that's actually fair.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what we've been up to, I guess. That's what's been going on.
Hey guys, if there's any recommendations, anything you've been up to, anything you've played, anything you've seen that you think we should see and maybe even talk about in the pod, hit us up. You can find us at podcastassemble on Instagram or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com. Send us stuff. You can even send us memes if you want to. We love it when you do. I bloody love a superhero meme or similar. And absolutely go to www.podcastassemble.com. Plenty of stuff there too.
It's the main topic theme.
DL.
Yes.
Do you want to preface and give me your stupid plot summary for this epic end to our Halloween anthology?
I kind of talked about it a bit earlier, and honestly, I fell asleep 4 times, dude. So like, I
gotta admit, I was trying to find like a 2x speed thing, and Amazon does not have that.
Nope.
So I was just kind of skipping 10 seconds every now and again. I was just like, there's more 10 seconds
That's
gone.
more schizophrenic than like,
oh, it was so long though.
Anyway, my introduction is The Swarm, which, as we've talked about, maybe you'll have more to say about than me, to be honest, because of my sleeping habits. but it's about some African bees that basically told humans fuck around and find out. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, that's not even my stupid plot. That's my intro.
That's way better. I way prefer that. Stick with that.
Okay. My stupid plot summary is autistic yelling in conspiracy corner with Alfred. Like, there's so much going on.
And flamethrowers? You gotta throw that in there as well.
Flamethrowers. Well, I fell asleep through that part. I just saw it right before you made me watch the ending because I fell asleep and didn't remember the ending.
Utter nonsense. Mine's just unrealistic escapes, flamethrowers, and bees.
Oh, no, not the bees!
It's the bees. Oh my god! But that is actually the reason why I was so keen to do this film. No joke. It brings us perfectly full circle with the bees.
If I can be honest, wait.
See?
I feel so dumb for not realizing that.
Did you not realize that?
I did not realize it until this very moment.
That was the whole purpose of this film.
Oh, that's great.
I literally, the only one of the films that had bees in. I was like, all of the, unintentionally funny horror movies there are out there. And there's a lot. There's more than you give it credit for.
There is a lot.
This one was literally about bees. Now, we highly recommend you go back and listen to The Happening when we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. That's probably one of my all-time favorite episodes we've ever done.
It was funny.
I've never laughed that hard.
It was funny. It was
talking
funny
in my entire life. But it starts off talking about bees. Then The Wicker Man. There's a lot of bees in The Wicker Man.
There's a fair... They honey.
There's a lot of honey in there.
They get stung.
The whole plot's basically around bees, even though they don't do a lot in the film.
Yep.
This one, bees front and center.
Yep.
I was like, the perfect escalation of these movies.
Yeah, it's slowly been rising, and the bees are the main antagonist in this movie.
Literally, absolutely.
You must say we must say it as it is. They are the bad guys.
And who better than the master of disaster in quotation marks? This is from Irvin Allen, who he did a lot of things back in the day, including Lost in Space. But he's really well known for doing these crazy, wild movies, a lot of disaster movies that have mental casts. Like, listen to this. This has Michael Caine. Actually, you know what? Let's go back a step. Listen to the 7 Oscar winners who he managed to be in this absolute trash movie.
Yeah.
Michael Caine, Dame Olivia de Havilland, Ben Johnson, Jose Ferreira, Patty Duke, Lee Grant, Henry Fonda. What on earth? And
I didn't know Henry Fonda was in it. Where is he? 2
other Oscar nominees, Richard Widmark and Catherine Ross. Like, this is like a star-studded goddamn movie. Everyone is in this.
It is.
It's maddening how bad this is considering the cast.
Can I just say, though, like, it would have been funnier if it was short. Like, I would have actually enjoyed it to a similar degree as The Happening and everything we had, The Wicker Man and everything, if it was just like a half an hour shorter.
But even more, like 45
minutes would have been better. But a half an hour would have helped a lot.
So my problem with this is, right, and I've actually written somewhere along here, where is this note? I feel like this is, in a weird way, like the Tarantino of the day. He managed to get all these crazy actors in the same movie and he's just embellishing absolutely everything. There is a scene when Michael Caine and his love interest that's Helena, by the way, that's Catherine Ross. They're in a van driving to their location. And it feels like it's filmed in real time. Like they're just driving, and then they get there and they get out. They say hello to a guard.
It's just
they
so
get in an
casual.
elevator, and then you wait for the elevator doors to close.
It's so long,
and then you see it going up, and then it pans out to the building, so you can tell how long they're in this. I'm like, oh my god.
Yes, you're right. That's a good point. Like, I feel like that was like I felt that in my bones, but I didn't like know how to like actually distill the point down. But you're right.
Embellishing
it's
everything.
So embellished, and like even like the conversations sometimes are so casual,
such
and
nonsense.
nonchalant.
Yeah,
that I'm like, why is this even like? It feels like it's off camera work, right? Like,
I think my favorite scene is exactly that. There's a scene where Michael Caine is talking to General Slate, who's played by Richard Widmark, and what they do is they're having a casual conversation, and Michael Caine's really nice. He's like, "Hey, would you mind just walking outside with me for a moment?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's go outside." And they're talking, and then out of nowhere, Michael Caine just screams at him for no reason.
It's so...
He's like, "This is my operation. My way." Michael Caine.
There's a few of those.
Yeah, so many.
Can I speak to you outside, please? Just like little polite stroll, and then just like, no.
I feel like we've dived headfirst into this way too fast. Can you give me what's the like setup of this? Because it's quite it's an interesting setup.
I kind of forget how it begins.
Like, it's just the army troops arriving at this army base.
Yeah, and you're
everyone's
like, what's
dead.
happening? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I kind of like that. I was a bit intrigued. I was like, oh, what's happening? And then Michael Caine's just there.
But then they kind of just throw you in head first, don't they?
Yeah, literally.
They're just like, he's come in, he gets full command instantly.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's a lot of power.
Straight away.
Like, the president has given this bee guy full authority.
He's an entomologist, DL. He studies bugs.
And he's just like,
no, well, he wants to go his own way. He wants to study the bees. He wants to find out what their weaknesses are.
And he's like, the generals have lost power. The bee guy is in charge. you serve the entomologist, like, in all his needs, basically, is how it starts after that.
And then we're introduced to this small town in Texas where a couple of people die. And, apparently...
a mom and a dad.
Yes. And the kid somehow gets away.
Very sweaty.
Now that's a point for this movie.
Always sweaty.
Why is everyone so sweaty in this movie?
Especially the kid.
The kid
is constantly sweaty.
Anyone who gets jabbed by a bee.
Well, I think that's like the point. Like
of course.
But the kid,
and they also see a weird hallucination.
Yes,
of a bee for some reason. Like what?
And also, you wouldn't see it in your eyes.
No.
Like, why? Like, if it's hallucination, by definition, it doesn't like mirror off the person's eyes. Like, what is going on there?
Oh, this movie is such utter nonsense. It's great. So basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to prevent a widespread disaster, find a way to shut the bees down.
Because these bees are more deadly.
And they're really struggling.
They are.
So they're African killer bees, as we mentioned up top. Which,
yes.
One point in this movie which I found interesting, let's use that word, is that after a while, they stop saying the whole phrase. They stop saying African killer bees. And they're just talking about these deadly foes, which they just call Africans after about an hour of the film. I found that kind of racist. I was like, guys, you got to say at least bees in this. Like,
that's funny. That's super funny. I did not notice that.
Basically, the cast we're introduced to is this warring internal faction of the crew that Michael Caine gets together. It's scientists versus the military who just want to do military things and bomb the shit out of this town, basically.
Yeah.
But then there's also this weird side plot of the town.
Which sucks.
What is happening?
That's what you cut.
Like
all of that
whole story.
There is it was like nonsensical.
And it goes on for way too long.
Yes.
And there's love triangles.
There's aged care love triangles.
Like what?
This woman is 65 years old.
With the best acting of all time, by the way.
With the best.
Her acting is fabulous in this. That one of my all-time favorite scenes in a movie ever is from this film when she's the principal of the school and there are kids that have died outside. They went as far as killing kids. And she turns around and she's like,
oh my God, dude.
Great to watch. Fantastic cinema.
Dude.
I love we're just jumping around this because...
But so he assembles like an A team.
Yes. Of scientists.
Of bee guys.
Bee guys.
Like, which by the way was like the weirdest part I think to me was how like ready Michael Caine was for this very moment.
He knew everything.
Like he's constantly smirking.
Yeah.
Like I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Like I got the guys we need to come. Like
yeah.
So like, what kind of person is like awaiting the bee apocalypse? Like this guy obviously
Michael Caine
is a bit weird, right? And he's got them all on speed dial.
Brad Crane that's Michael Caine's character.
Yes.
Also, strong name. Not gonna lie, good name. I like that. Brad Crane.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I feel like he's gonna either throw in American football really well or solve the apocalypse.
Anyway, so like they bring them all together and they're all assigned different jobs. One's to like get a vaccine.
Yes.
One's to help like confirm what type of bee it is.
Yes.
Another one is to like find a weapon against the bees.
And Michael Caine is there to scream at everyone.
Well,
mainly the military
and try
guys.
and like bang the scientist, I guess.
What was all right.
Yeah, but like
we'll talk about that.
So my point being, like, that's their jobs, right? And like one of the first things that they get to as they're on this team of B, what do you call it? The BA team.
The B team.
Yeah,
let's call them the B team.
Michael Caine, they're trying to prove that they're truly African bees. And he's like, well, there's been one murder. Which, by the way, if there was only like one murder, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. But we know that there's like the military base was killed before.
Effectively, what happens is the military base is taken over and number of like soldiers are killed by the bees, and that's how this all kicks off.
Which is an interesting, like, why did the bees go there?
Did they go there?
I don't think they ever explained
you find that out at the end.
Do you?
Yeah.
Slept through that.
I'll tell you what happens.
Give me
it's
it's probably like a sound of the alarm or something.
Correct.
They were hinting at that.
The alarm goes off and it basically attracts the bees. Happens a lot of times.
When Michael Caine is trying to prove they are truly African bees.
Yes.
How did they only find one fucking bee at the scene?
Great question.
Millions.
Trillions of these bees.
Like, these things would just die anyway. It's a bee. It's how the life cycle of a day.
There are so many.
And he finds one.
Swarm a helicopter and take it down.
Yes.
That's how many bees there are.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
Just
as a side note. And then they're all like arguing about oh no, there's no way this is the African bee. They've never been seen farther than, Brazil. This is preposterous. And it's like, why do we care? The issue is if it's black, Chinese,
it doesn't matter what it is.
Brazilian bee, they're killing people. That's the problem. So
how do we beat these is the question.
Yeah, exactly.
They spend too long on that. Way too long on that. The pacing of this movie is all over the place.
Yeah, it is. It is quite odd. So we watch them as they try and figure all this out, while the other plot line is basically the story of a small town.
Yeah, and they're trying to save
being
the town.
Affected by this bee epidemic.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make you care about some people in the town, so that when the bee epidemic, as you call it, comes along, we care about these people who probably will die. Right?
Hopefully.
Because there's no other reason to focus on that town. But it's nonsense.
And so some of these can we just let's dig into some of these plots of the town.
This is full spoilers, by the way, guys, and it always is with these movies from the 70s.
Let's talk about some of these plots from the town.
Let's go through a few plots.
So one of them we've hinted at so far is the love triangle.
Yes.
Why is everyone in this
the town?
From the town. Why is everyone in this love triangle over the age of 65?
It's a great question.
What is going on? I thought people married young.
So there was the high school principal.
There was literally looks like a grandma.
There was the mayor of the town who was even older somehow. And then there was a guy who'd come in from a big town. He'd come in from a bigger town. He was the electrician, I think, for the town. Like, what is that? And he's throwing his dick around. He thinks he's the Billy Big of the town. So, I can see what's going on here. And the other guy's quite meek and he's giving a nice, cute flowers. But I don't care about any of these people at any point.
You're just thrown into it, right?
Yeah. It's like, care about us, please. We're big Hollywood actors. And it's like, no, we don't care about you. And the thing is, and this extends to Michael Caine's characters. There is zero chemistry with any of them at any point.
Michael Caine is like in a movie on his own.
Yeah,
he's like it. I think he thinks he's actually on the stage, and the entire movie's a monologue. And he's just like, you know what I mean? Like he's just speaking to himself in his own level of energy. Everyone else is kind of acting normally.
He has a very different energy to everyone in
his energy is so tonally off.
That's so true.
But the point I was going to make with these 80-year-olds is one of my notes was, who are these 80-year-olds courting each other? What the fuck is going on?
Why
did I fall asleep? Because it's so.
Did you see how they died?
Did they die?
The train so they got on the train.
Were in the train.
They were in the train. And that was one of my fast forward points. And then I had to go back and watch it.
It's so funny.
Nonsense.
The amount of times in the town storyline, which eventually gets attacked by the bees, tragedy,
yes. Of course.
The amount of times I wrote down that I'm just laughing when I'm not quite sure why. And I shouldn't be. Which is what the point of this
was. That the train scene?
Mate, not only that.
Wow.
This is the point of an unintentional comedy or unintentional horror movie.
Yeah, it's true.
I've listed them down.
You got to find the fun.
Children dying.
Oof. Wow.
In the schoolyard, just like
you mean the way they
flaunting about just really dying. Bad. I am sitting there crying with laughter. Just
Trey wants to kill kids, guys.
Really wondering what is wrong with me. The next scene over, like 20, maybe 30, maybe an hour later, is them fleeing the city, all on the same train.
Yes.
Which, by the way, sets up a nice little comedic element where the
train flies off the tracks.
Not just that. the aged care threesome, or the aged care menage a trois, or the aged care love triangle, whatever you want to call it, are all having to sit next to each other on the train.
It's beautiful.
Funny.
Doesn't she say she's going to choose between them at some point?
I don't know.
She never sees that birthday.
Yeah, she does not.
I didn't think she was going to see it anyway, if I'm honest.
To be honest, she was looking old.
She was pretty old.
Yeah, I think she's like a famous actress.
They all are.
From a long time ago, so that's probably how she got the role. But she was well beyond.
That's why they're all in it.
But she was well beyond her peak.
Well,
to play the role she was in, it doesn't make sense.
None of it makes sense, DL.
Point being, at some point, I don't really remember how the bees derail the train.
Yeah, they do.
How did they derail the train?
I think they kill the guys who are driving the train,
which doesn't matter because it's on a track.
Yeah, well, bees, man.
It's the bees. So the train is just careening down this mountain.
Really fun, miniature work.
Yeah, aggressively flowing down and exploding down this mountain ravine.
Absolutely.
And the older, couple is being thrown about.
Felix,
and I am laughing.
Felix, who's the guy from Out of Town, was super rapey in this. Like, his whole demeanor, I was like cringing, but also laughing at the same time. He was like, I got this, guys. Like, it's me. I got this.
Yes. And then I am just crying with laughter as it careens down into fiery deaths. That's number 2 time. And then the third time that I'm just laughing at things I'm not quite sure why is just when Michael Caine is being completely serious when he screams at anyone about environmental issues, breaking down point by point why the ecosystem will fail.
The science in it is dodgy as well.
And I am just laughing my ass off at this level of workplace culture that he is instilling.
Oh, from the 70s.
Yes,
it's probably not good.
It was bad.
Surprised didn't slap a few women at the same time.
But yeah, that's like there's a couple things in that storyline. And what really stuck out to you about the whole town story?
Nothing. It was like the only thing I can see in it is that it was like a relationship side quest. We had to keep checking in to make sure that, they were still there. It was still going on. It just ruined the pacing of the whole movie. It's like, I get it, there's a town there. Who cares? Like, we've already been introduced to the kid who's lost his parents. I don't need to know anyone else from that goddamn town.
Also, I don't need to see what the kid... Oh, I guess that what did serve a plot device when he just threw Molotov cocktails. Which, by the way, where did he get them?
I have a point here that says the kid is just so dumb. Like, everything he does in this film is just... Like, you know what I'm like?
He throws a bunch of Molotov cocktails at a swarm of 1 billion bees.
Like petrol. It's like, dude, like... Yeah, he cray. Like, he needs to be looked at, that kid.
Yes, for sure.
But effectively, what happens in this film is that it's this escalation of these bees attacking the town and attacking various military sites, and it builds while Michael Caine's character fails effectively. Let's be honest, at every turn.
Well, each of his scientists. Well.
He tries to get a vaccine for the stings, the poison in the stings,
and his mate just
dies.
Yeah,
and then
because he injects it to test. himself.
And then they try to use like poison chemical on the crops basically to kill him. Doesn't work. They've evolved. They're past that stage, and it comes to the point of flamethrowers.
It does.
What else are you going to try?
Was never going to work.
Awful choice. The military basically step in and go, dude, you had your chance. Flamethrowers.
Yes, we're going to try
6 guys against 50 billion bees. Like, they're going to win.
Can I ask one simple question, though, about the storyline of the town?
Yes.
Which, by the way, we meet...
It's a fictional town, by the way.
Yes.
In case you were worried.
It's a fictional town. And, as they're planning to figure out how to protect the town, they do a town hall. So my simple question is, like, where they've got the superintendent, they've got the mayor, they've got the scientists at the military base thing, like, what are we going to do, right?
Yeah.
And my simple question is, in this hypothetical situation, right?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Where there is
you make this last almost as long as the film does. Jesus, give me this question already.
Hear me out. Where there is a swarm of deadly bees.
Yes.
Bees. We know what bees do. Attacking cities across the nation, and you are one of these cities that they've been brought in to figure out how we might prevent this or mitigate this risk. It might be sound to cancel the fucking flower festival.
The thing that might attract bees.
Flower festival that you're going on and on about.
Funny.
For like the first hour, but they're like, nah, we have this massive meeting on the mines, which basically includes the mayor of Dildo Town and his 60-year-old bachelorette principal, and their brightest idea is to turn on alarm. Like, man, we'll put on an alarm. No, the flower festival must go on.
No
the
one is bright in this film. I think the thing with the town is, what it's trying to do is, it's trying to show you how scary the bees are, because multiple times you return there to see people get killed. But I got it from the first time. I was like, I don't need to see them again. Like, the kids died, and then they had the whole town was invaded, and it was like, guys, like, we get it. The pacing is bad enough on this. Like, don't throw me back into that town any more times. So basically what happens is the final confrontation is they're holed up in a building and they send a bunch of guys with flamethrowers in. That fails. Then there's a bunch of dodginess where Michael Caine probably got stung a bunch of times but still gets away.
Yeah, he's got a lot of plot armor.
There's a lot of plot armor around
Michael Caine.
And the love interest as well. She gets stung early on. She doesn't die somehow. How does she not die? We'll never know.
Only got stung once. And he's like, ice! Do you remember that? Get the ice! Bro, this has to be the most boring movie I've ever seen. It's not even a very hard call to make.
This
is a proper snooze fest. I fell asleep 4 times.
There's clearly elements of this that they could have just gone, all right, they just need a good editor.
Yeah.
Just cut out 45 plus minutes of this film. And like, it wouldn't be that terrible. Like, some of the funny quotable, I'm saying that as if like I know any of the things that happen.
There's a bunch of quotable moments.
Some of the, like, if you cut out like all the bits of like long car rides or Michael Caine just doing a monologue about the environment, you're like, it's not good science anyway. Aggressively monologuing. You got at least a watchable film here.
Yeah, so how about the part when he's like in the beginning, they're asking him like what's happened, and he's like, I'm afraid to speculate. And he knows nothing. But I think the bees did this. And it's like, that is the most speculative thing.
You just speculate.
First of all, you just said you're afraid to. Then you do. And not only do you do it, it's like the most speculative thing you could have ever said, given there's literally no evidence of bees. Just a bunch of dead guys. Yeah. Like anything else would actually be a more likely cause.
Short of him saying, Dre, African killer bees. Make sure you get it right.
I don't know, man.
It could be another bee, though.
Short of him saying, like, Anne Frank did it, I really don't know what else could have been more speculative statement following that. Like, what is he saying, dude? Like, he's the most absurd human ever in this.
He's written for a different film.
It is true.
Complete. And one of my favorite facts about this is jumping way ahead to Truffle's trivia. A trivia fact from this is that apparently Michael Caine was so impressed by the number of big stars that signed on to be the cast of this film. He just signed on without reading the script. And you can kind of tell that, can't you?
Adds up.
It's literally like he's in a different film.
Dude, he's like another fucking great one-liner by him. Losing the battle to the insects. I never would have thought it would be the bees. They were always our friends. I'm like, no, we weren't friends, dude. I don't know we're friends. Like beekeepers are the only friends of the bees. And if you think about it, they enslave them. It's like literally in the name. Yeah. I don't think the bees, I mean, I know they do a lot for the environment, but friends, like, I don't know.
They help us. Like, we don't exactly befriend them. I've never taken a bee out for a beer. I don't know if you have.
Not.
The CGI is pretty dodgy in this as well. We're going to talk about actual bee use in a moment, but the fact they used between 15 and 22 million bees in general, pretty awesome.
That is cool.
But some of the actual not CGI, but some of the special effects to try and jazz up the amount of bees, not good.
The nuclear, I didn't notice it that much.
Well, the ending of this is that they basically nuke the city, right?
Which is ironic because like the whole time they were like, we can't even use pesticides. Then they just literally nuke a city.
Just let's do it. But then that does leave it kind of open for a sequel. Like imagine if the Queen got away.
Or like it was like a nuclear mutated.
Oh my God. Bee. They mutated again.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. I think it is pretty funny. Like, and it's mainly the tone, I think. Like no one in this movie can believe what they're saying either. Like every line is like delivered with incredulity. Incredulity. How do I say this word? Incredulity. Except for Michael Caine, who's like never been more sure of anything in his life.
So earnest.
Yeah, like
at every turn.
Every line.
But like to a fault. He almost stands out because of his earnestness. Everyone else kind of like you said, everyone else is just kind of being normal.
Yeah.
And he's just like the most earnest fucking human of all time. And you're like, Michael, play a role, mate. Play a fucking role.
Play a fucking role, mate.
Play a fucking role, mate. But then I like that as a tone and theme, though. But like, don't fuck with bees. That's kind of all I got. Like, what else is there?
I mean, well, the fact that
everyone else dies.
The fact that everyone dies and they nuke it at the end, kind of like
it takes away the whole theme of the film.
Nature shit. So I don't know. But one thing I will say is I'm not hiring this version of Michael Caine as a life coach. Do you remember the scene I'm talking about where he's like talking to the kid?
Oh my God, awful.
He's not getting hired as a child psychologist anytime soon.
And he's just like,
he's giving him like
look at me.
Yeah, he's giving him like a prep talk because his parents are dead. And his prep talk basically essentially is, look, kid, I've got something special to tell you. Cheer up. It's not good to not have a mom and dad. I didn't have a mom and dad either. Yeah. It sucks. You're worse off for it. It will not be good. So good luck.
Yeah, literally.
Like literally that's the pep talk. I was like, that was shockingly bad.
1970s, my baby. Like that's how it is. Have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know?
You're gonna be like hamstrung by this for the rest of your life. Up. Good luck.
All right. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that. And then the kid rallies.
It works.
I'm like, well,
tough love, man.
Tough love. Like, I'm surprised he didn't like give him a backhand afterwards. Like, you're gonna be fine. Need you to do this for me, kid. Honestly, man, I don't have a huge amount else to say about this film. I had a lot of fun talking about it with you, but like watching it was a slog, man.
It was a slog.
Like it was.
What do you think it is on IMDb?
Well, we're going to get there in a minute. Let's tell me your 3 best and 3 worst.
I actually have one question before we get to 3 best, 3 worst.
Yeah, please.
Is there 2 brunettes? I'm
no,
almost positive there is. Because there was the one that's like with Michael Caine always.
Yes.
And then there's another one that was like with that other doctor.
No. I'm pretty sure you're forgetting this and you're thinking of The Wicker Man where there were twins every 15 minutes.
No.
There was literally
There's Helena
one.
Anderson, who's the one that like Michael Caine is.
Everyone else is super old in this.
What about Anne McGregor?
Don't think so. Man, you're just saying names now.
Or Patty Duke Aston.
They're all old, I think. They're all old. Everyone is so old in this. It's like the end of like careers.
Yeah, I just fell asleep, man. I guess I just thought they were different
You
characters.
just blended a bunch.
Yeah.
You like split a bunch of stuff together rather than blending it.
Yeah.
What were your 3 best and 3 worst? Should we explain this? We like to give you 3 reasons you might want to watch this film, 3 reasons why you might not. I feel like by now, if you're still going to try and watch this film, fucking go for it, dude. Like, nothing we're going to say at this point is going to turn you off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's certainly a point in time.
Yes.
Let's say that.
Yes.
What are your 3 best, 3 worst?
My 3 best, as I go, the nuclear explosion green screen behind Michael Caine.
So bad.
At the end, as he gives a casual speech about how the world just might survive.
Yeah.
And there's just like plumes of mushroom clouds behind him. It was just
and they're very close.
And they're just like having a cup of tea kind of moment.
Yeah.
Was just iconic.
Casual.
If you're a Michael Caine fan in general.
Is this a good or a bad?
This is good.
Okay, all right.
I'm just laughing really hard at it.
Okay, good. Okay.
Michael Caine fan,
thing.
you just have to watch this movie like to really have an understanding of his whole career. So I'm giving that as like a good as well. The other good, I guess, has to be like when he just screams at people. Like it is funny.
He's just so dysfunctional in this film. Is the only word I can use for him.
Yes, he is.
He has no idea how to talk to human beings. Mine are very simply, they used real bees for this. Fascinating. Like I said, between 15 and 22 million. How? Like, that's insane. Like, what on earth? I said, how did they get this cast together?
Yeah.
I mentioned up top, like 7 Oscar like awards.
I wonder how,
them.
dude.
And then just the scenes where you get that bee hallucination. I couldn't not laugh at that. The time when the girl looks in Michael Caine's eye and it pops out of his eye.
Yeah.
And the time when it's hiding behind the door.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, it's so good. There's a bit when Helena, the love interest, has sort of gotten over it. And she's, you think because she only got stung twice.
Yeah.
She's getting past her hallucinations. Then out of nowhere, she hears this like tap, tap, a tap on the door. And then she opens the door and the bee's back.
Yeah, he's back in.
It's so weird. So weird. What's your worst?
I guess my worst would be
the length.
The length, way too long. That's a good point. It's like
brutally long.
It's brutally long. I think the casting, like
really?
for the villager or the town, like that whole triangle threesome thing was just so
good actors, bad roles.
I mean, just like poorly cast, like and just the sheer idiocy of a lot of these people is my third point. Like you get 4 stings, you're dead.
We got literally the same ones.
Like just come on, like lock it up, dude.
Just
like
close the door.
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
There was a scene where someone got greedy and locked himself in like the fridge of his little delicatessen, and everyone else was like, "I guess we'll die then." It's like, all right, fuck.
I mean, it's not really that hard to. I feel like avoid bees.
No, it should be
if you're not outside.
Yeah, and they were inside.
Yeah. So
mine are pretty much the same. The length, the acting, and the stupid plans. Like all the plans in this are bad. Outside of the scientists trying to do science stuff, you're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. The idea makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll try and find what their weakness is and then counteract it with some sort of pesticide or something. That'll work. No, it's all right. We'll just find some flamethrowers. That's better. All right, let's do that.
There was a kind of a cool scene where like the whole world was on fire from the window and like the bees were
that was kind of cool.
That was a kind of cool scene.
I'm going to just look up the IMDb score for this again because what I have written down, I don't believe. I'm not going to lie to you. So let me see this. Oh, it's right. Wow. Okay. So can you guess for me before we do our famous rating system, the current IMDb score for this?
3.
Wait, hang on a minute. Considering last week we talked about The Wicker Man, which was 3.8, and the week before that we talked about The Happening, which was 5.
3.5.
4.5.
Maybe there's just old people that like
Can you believe that? I'm baffled by that.
once you're below 4, like or 5,
you
I
probably
guess
shouldn't watch it.
It's kind of all degrees of shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Well then, all right, guess me the Rotten Tomatoes score.
22.
You've been really nice to this. It's 9.
9%.
Like, wow.
And Rotten Tomatoes can be ruthless sometimes.
Rotten Tomatoes really can.
For old movies.
Good for them.
Yeah.
I feel like they're right.
Yeah.
You're right this time, Rotten Tomatoes. And Letterboxd. This is our famous user-based score that is always 3.6, except for last week's and this week's.
2.5.
Oh, it's 2.4. You were
All
so
right.
close. So now we do our famous rating system, which, firstly, I think we should rate the 3 movies we've talked about because, hell, this has been fun.
Yes.
And then
yes.
we'll say whether this movie is better or worse than Aquaman 2018, the most average movie of all time, and why. Which is your favorite of these 3 films?
I'm taking a moment.
You take that moment, but it's not great for podcasting. I'm not going to lie to you. You can't tell me.
I think it's got to be The Happening.
You can't tell me anything's better than that.
Wicker Man.
We had such a good time talking about
The Happening is number 1, Wicker Man's
time.
number 2, and then this is number 3.
This is just terrible.
Although
bad.
I would say this one was close. Like if it was shorter, it would have been.
okay.
It might have been 2.
Okay, between this and The Wicker Man, I give you that. If this was, an hour shorter,
The Wicker Man at moments was kind of creepy.
so creepy.
Like it wasn't as unintentionally funny as the others.
Like I made the joke to my partner. I made the
Yeah.
joke that the only thing scary about this film was literally the length of it.
Yeah.
I texted you and I was like, oh yeah, I started this. I looked at the length and I went, oh, an hour and a half. That's great. And then I was like half an hour in. I was like, I paused it to go to the bathroom.
And you realized
Looked
it
at
just said there was an hour and a half left to go from the 30 minutes.
There was
you'd
2 hours left to go. And I was like, wait a minute. What are they going to do in this film?
Not much.
But it was...
Frolic with bees.
What do you reckon? Better or worse than Aquaman 2018?
It's worse.
Yeah, 100% worse.
It's worse than Aquaman 2018.
100%.
Yes. Like you just Jason Momoa being good looking.
Imagine Jason Momoa in this
It
film.
just makes it better. Like that alone.
I want to see a remake of this with Jason Momoa.
Oh God, no you don't.
All that charisma.
No you don't. No you don't.
All right, let's wrap up then. True or false trivia, DL.
Yes.
Do you want some?
I do.
You always want some, even if you
I
don't.
never take
Even
no
if you
for an
don't.
answer.
Brilliant. So Michael Caine stated in an interview that during the film, he thought the little yellow dots left on him by the bees were honey. Is that true or is that false?
False.
It's actually true. And he apparently began eating them entirely unaware that that is actually bee feces. So
Gross.
how gross is that?
What an idiot.
Like, dude, you
Yeah.
taste it once and you're like, this doesn't taste like honey.
Also, like
Don't do that again.
Honeycomb. It's like it's in a thing.
You can literally see
Yeah.
what that's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Gnarly.
True or false, DL? Producer, director, he produced as well. No worry, no wonder. Irvin Allen was so disheartened by the amount of money that he lost on the film, he forbade any of his employees to ever mention it again. True or is that false?
True.
It is true. And apparently he even cut an interview short when someone asked about the film. So would I. I'd be like, no,
I don't know, man. You got to
Although
wear
this-
your mistakes.
Some mistake.
You got to wear it.
Some mistakes.
You got to fucking wear it.
You're a
dude.
single man. You've not had any for 3 months. You wear that mistake.
Yes.
This mistake, I'm not going to wear it. I think I'm good.
this is public. You have to wear it by definition.
Fair. That is absolutely fair.
Ugh.
Finally, then, true or false, DL? This was the first of 3 big budget all-star films made by Alan Irving. Is that true or is that false?
That is false.
It's true. That sentence continues to say that did so badly at the box office that they were blamed for the killing of the disaster genre
Oh,
for
man.
the time being. Obviously, it came back. We had the likes of Independence Day, etc.
Yes,
2012, all those types of things.
many.
But, good on you, man. By 1980, you'd killed a whole genre.
Congrats. Love that for him.
Love that for him.
Yeah.
And I don't think if you look at his CV, his IMDb page, there's a big gap. Basically, did a bunch of stuff for Lost in Space
Yeah.
back in the 70s and 80s. Big gap. Then he did some more for the more recent Lost in Space TV
You think
series.
he just was
I think
untouchable?
he just was. No, I think he was just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I've ruined my life.
Yeah.
He's probably pretty rich, so who cares? Good for him. DL, I had a lot of fun talking about this review. This anthology has been an absolute hoot.
It has come to an end.
Unfortunately so.
But if you didn't listen to the first 2, go back and have a listen.
You
'cause
genuinely have
You're
to.
missing out.
And as we said at the top, if you are still listening at this point, God, why? Feel free to give us that 5-star review, guys. We really love it if you do. You can do it in an app. You can do it anywhere. It's going to really help us. We really appreciate it.
We would appreciate it.
DL, do you want to wrap up the show, big guy?
I do. A big thank you to Matthew Bliss for editing and mastering this week's episode. If you'd like to hire someone to edit your podcast, head to matthewbliss.net and book a consultation today. If you want to hear from him, his work, his podcast with his wife, From My Home to Yours, about an expat and a repat, they talk about their experiences, kind of moving from Ireland to Australia, but it's really applicable for anywhere. It's very
Go
wholesome.
anywhere you want.
Wholesome with the WH. Big WH wholesome.
Big WH Holsom, and it's great vibes as well. Matt and his partner are fantastic hosts. And I think he's back doing the Dead Drop as well. So check out his other podcast,
the Dead Drop's back. That's
it's
huge.
back, baby.
There's quite a bit to be dead dropped.
There's a lot of drops.
Yes.
A lot of dead drops. But where can they find us, dude?
They can find us at thepodcastassemble@gmail.com or podcastassemble on Instagram. That's about it, I think.
That's a wrap, folks.
That's a wrap.
Thanks
It was a
for
quick
popping
one
by.
this week, but we wanted to save you some time.
Yeah,
It was
we
a 3-hour
wasted
epic movie.
3 hours of our lives on this thing, so we appreciate giving you that time back.
Until next time, Tommy.
Tally ho.
Tally ho.
Later, skaters.